Hi everyone, you join me here in Singapore where Samsung has just showed the new Galaxy S23 series to the media. Now, as usual, it is a bit of a secretive affair. There's only a few of us here today, and as you can see, it's still bright out, which means we're recording this a few hours earlier. But I'm going to take you behind the scenes and show you the new Galaxy S23, S23 Plus, and S23 Ultra, as well as a bit of what they're actually like to use. Let's go. As expected, these phones are very similar to last year's S22. You have a 6.1-inch S23, the 6.6-inch S23 Plus, and the big boy, 6.8-inch S23 Ultra. All three also come with a very similar design to last year's S22 series, including a polished aluminium frame, a matte glass back, the same hefty feel, and all the rest of it. The only difference is that the S23 and S23 Plus lose their signature camera bump, which Samsung called the contour cut. Now they have these floating camera lenses, which are very similar to the S23 Ultra, which looks practically identical to the S22 Ultra. But it's not exactly identical. See, the S23 Ultra still has a 6.8-inch AMOLED Edge display, but the flat section is pushed further outwards, so only the extreme edges are curved. That means there's less fall off. The colors don't shift so much because the viewing angle doesn't change so dramatically. Even so, it is a little bit difficult to notice, even right next to an S22 Ultra, although the flatter sides do make it a bit easier to hold. As for the S23 and S23 Plus, they have the same displays as before, measuring 6.1 and 6.6 inches respectively. All three displays have an adaptive 120Hz refresh rate. They're also the first phones to come with Gorilla Glass Victus 2, which is not only claimed to be more durable, but also uses 22% recycled material. But the most notable change is in the cameras, and it's here where you probably find the biggest discrepancy between the S line and the Ultra, certainly more than I've ever seen to date. I mean, the S23 Ultra gets a 200 megapixel main camera now, which not only pixel bins to either 50 or 12.5 megapixels, but also introduces super quad pixel autofocus that uses 4 adjacent pixels across the whole sensor for face detection. You also get a better night mode and improved optical image stabilization. By contrast, the S23 and the S23 Plus get the same 50 megapixel main camera. I mean, I wasn't expecting much, but I was hoping for at least 108 megapixels, you know, from last year's S22 Ultra. I know we live in a world where the iPhone is only now getting 48 megapixels, but come on, Samsung. The rest of the cameras are very similar to before. You get a 12 megapixel ultra-wide and a 10 megapixel telephoto shooter. The S23 Ultra also has a periscope telephoto lens that provides 10 times optical zoom. Samsung has at least added a few new features this year. All three models get 2 new long exposure modes, Astrophoto for, you know, photos, and Astro Hyperlapse for videos. Samsung says that these two are perfect for capturing the night sky, but since it's still bright out, it's hard to test their claims. You're gonna have to wait for the full review for that. All we can say for now is that these cameras take detailed photos, except for the ultra-wide, which still looks a little bit soft, and they deliver vibrant colors no matter the lighting conditions. But we barely had any time with these phones, and as before, we couldn't save the photos taken from these cameras, so we couldn't view them from a proper display instead of Samsung's usual oversaturated touchscreens. As for videos, Samsung has improved the 8K recording feature on the S23 Ultra, switching to a 50 megapixel mode for a wider view. Flip the phone over and you'll find a 12 megapixel selfie camera across all three models, an upgrade over the S22 and S22 Plus's 10 megapixels, but a downgrade from the S22 Ultra's whopping 40 megapixels. It comes with dual pixel autofocus, smart HDR, and a night portrait feature. The rest of the spec sheet sets the benchmark for all other smartphone flagships coming out this year. All three models are powered by the same Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip. Samsung says it's for Galaxy, which probably means there are some optimization features that lets it run faster than other 8 Gen 2 phones like the OnePlus 11. You also get 8GB of RAM as standard. In Malaysia, the Ultra is only available with 12GB of RAM, and there's still no 16GB option available anywhere in the world. As for storage, you get either 256GB or 512GB. There is no longer a 128GB version of the base S23 in Malaysia. But on the flip side, you can finally spec the Ultra with up to 1TB, which will probably be very expensive. Elsewhere, you still get a 5000 mAh battery in the S23 Ultra, but the S23 and S23 Plus each get bumped up by 200 mAh to 3900 and 4700 mAh respectively. Again, the S23 only gets 25W fast charging, while the S23 Plus and S23 Ultra bump it up to 45W. No crazy 100+ watt charging here, but at least you still have 15W of wireless charging. All three phones run on Android 13, skinned with the One UI 5.1, with some unique features. For instance, Samsung has copied the iPhone's focus modes with modes and routines, including a new sleep mode that will silence all notifications. There's also easier lock screen customization, again taken from iOS 16, a Bixby text call to answer calls with text, and the ability for multiple users to make collaborative edits in Samsung Notes through Google Meet. I know, that's a very weird way to do it. And of course, you still get the S Pen in the S23 Ultra, which works just as well as ever. But yeah, that's everything you need to know about the Samsung Galaxy S23 series. We still don't know pricing. As usual, let us know what you think about the new phones in the comments, and stay tuned for the full review of the S23 Ultra, which will be coming out soon. If you liked this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and ring the notifications bell icon so you don't miss any of our future videos. As always, stay awesome. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.